Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about a very specific video, and only a select few of y'all will this fit. However, the ones that it does fit, it will be beneficial. That's my hope. Tiptoeing around an avoidant enables them. It does not heal them. And tiptoeing is different than being mindful of their triggers, right? And that's why it can get confusing. That's why it's a very specific video. I'm going to give quite a couple perspectives and examples of this so that you can have more clarification towards the end. And then we're going to talk about how to adjust this and reestablish your role in the relationship so that this is not a continuous issue. That's a goal of the video today. And I do want to mention, a lot of you guys are doing this accidentally and from a good place, right? You're not doing it because you're terrified of them, or maybe, I don't know, but a lot of you guys are doing it because you want what's best for the relationship and you thought that was the right thing to do. And what actually ends up happening is they end up seeing you as less than, not on purpose necessarily, but more like your needs, because you're not making them known. They're not clarified properly. And they feel whatever their situation is continuously enabled. And it just creates a very large imbalance. And then what happens is, at one point, you bottle these emotions up, you crash out, and now they're mad at you for crashing out, and then they detach without realizing the crash out is not random, right? It's months and years of you bottling things up, but they don't see that. So let's make it known to some extent so that they can take responsibility and make the relationship better, because they cannot continuously be catered to. It's not healthy. And actually, to be honest, if an avoidant knew that this is what it looked like and they were not sensitive about the true dynamic and they really faced it, they would be embarrassed about it. And so it's really important that we just eliminate this from the relationship as much as possible. And the first one is, if you do this, you're actually tiptoeing around them. You're not helping them. You always avoid making them upset, particularly always. Sometimes they're going to have to be upset and they are going to have to deal with it. You sometimes have to take the shot that something's bothering you and you tell them. Might as well, right? They're an adult. They're going to get over it. And besides, I imagine with a lot of you guys, a lot of people don't tolerate them at all. The fact that you're even there is an amazing thing, right? Avoidants always say that. The fact that they're with you, the fact that they're talking to you is a step in of itself. It shows commitment in of itself. It's the same thing with you. The fact that you're even kind and listening to them, the fact that you're even there for them is, commitment and trust and respect in of itself. So you don't have to avoid making them upset every single second of your life. That's going to make you miserable, and it's not even fair for them either. Like, no one's going to feel good knowing that they're always being adjusted to. And so sometimes give a chance. Say something that you think will upset them. Let them get comfortable with that, because the relationship is not going to always be easy. And if they think that's the case, a lot of times that's them in their wound, and it's not healthy for them either. Living like that for a long time is going to affect them as well. That's why it's called insecure attachment, because it's actually not healthy, and we see that it affects how they behave. So it's helpful to help each other and heal. It's part of love. The next one is, you expect them to know what to do instead of say it, because you feel like saying it directly will trigger them. It can trigger them to some extent, but it doesn't mean you necessarily always have to not say it. So, for example, if you had a bad day at work and you want them to comfort you, that's normal, it's reasonable, it's completely fine, okay? But you feel like if you ask, they might get mad at you, or they might call you needy, or whatever terrible terms that you're afraid to be the receiver of. I think give it a chance. And if they tell you that, you can say, I feel like that's incredibly unfair of you. I'm always mindful of how you feel, and this is something that's important to me. I understand if you can't provide me with this, but I was saying this genuinely because I felt that this would help both of us. I want to be able to connect with you, and this was my way of doing so. So I'm sorry that you saw it in such a way. Anything like that. You never want to completely blame yourself and say, you're right, I was too much, because that's not true. You want them to understand that if they did react poorly, that's on them to own it. Right? It's very important that you do try and shift this a little bit, because it's going to help a lot, okay? The next one is, you let them go weeks and even months without seeing you, without directly addressing it. Now, of course, it depends on the relationship you're in. So I don't know, maybe for you it's years, maybe for you it's days, maybe for you it's weeks. I don't know your relationship. But based on your relationship, and they're still avoiding certain things that you guys agreed on, it needs to have a conversation, because some avoidants, they do avoid directly seeing people, even if it's in a relationship. Now, these are avoidants who are really, really, really unhealed, but it's still not okay. You can't just stay like that. The relationship's not going to sustain, and it's just going to result in a lot of issues. And so if this is the case, it's really important to directly address this, because there's another caveat to this that can be really risky, and I really want to mention this for you guys, okay? Sometimes what happens is if someone is doing this, it's because they're in a relationship, they're married or something like that, and they're not an avoidant. And so you want to be able to vet that out so you understand who this person really is. Because if they're avoiding seeing you, sometimes it's because they have something to hide, right? Because they don't want the affair to be caught or obvious, or they don't want it to be a full-blown affair. And that's why they're doing this. I'm not saying all avoidants or people that you're with is like this, but if that's the case, that's not an avoidant. That is a person who's cheating. And so that's why this is also really important, because you don't want to invest in someone who you find out later they have never invested in you. That's very painful. It's a situation that I don't want you guys in. And so directly address, by the way, we haven't seen each other in X amount of time, and I feel like it's not healthy for our relationship. What can we do to adjust this or avoid this? I'm free next week. Anything like that can help, okay? And the next one is similar. You go weeks or months without talking to them, and you do it because you're hoping that they will get the hint that they should reach out. In actuality, what happens is you're avoiding addressing the issue directly, and you want them to give you reassurance that they care about you. But you see, avoidants they work differently. If you're not reaching out to them, they feel like it's because you need space, because that's what they do. And so it's very unlikely that if you're purposely creating space so that they can reach out to you, for example, they're not going to, because they don't want to make you uncomfortable by invading your space. Okay. And so that's not going to work. What you're actually doing is you're trying to find reassurance that they care about you without addressing it directly. And that enables them, because you're tiptoeing around them again. Mention that whatever is bothering you that made you go weeks without talking to them, or whatever they're doing that goes weeks without talking, have a conversation. And if you don't like it, you can mention it. I don't want us to do this going forward, right? I don't think it's healthy for a relationship to not go X amount of time without talking. Some people it's okay. It depends on who you are and how your relationship is. The next one is you would constantly apologize, and then you crash out once you can't take it anymore. We were just talking about this in the very beginning when we were introing this video, right? A lot of people who are in relationships, especially if you're anxious, preoccupied, you blame yourself until you can't take it anymore, and then you point out their flaws. And now they feel like it's too much, and they're confused, and they're not really sure what's going on, and now they shut down. And the whole idea was you were just trying to get your needs met, and now you feel like your needs can't be met because they shut down. In actuality, it's because it was too much at one point. Instead, don't apologize for every little thing, and rather mention every now and again the things that they're doing wrong, and let them get comfortable with it. What they do wrong and what you do wrong in the relationship, wrong in the sense of what it affects the relationship, right? Not wrong in a moral sense, but unhealthy for the relationship. It's important, okay? And how can you heal and get them to respect you more? How can you help them heal and yourself heal while getting them to respect you, okay? The first one is you want to speak directly while still being mindful of their low tolerance. And so in your mind, you mention, okay, I want to say this, but I know they have a low tolerance threshold. How can I say it in a way that doesn't trigger that tolerance? Or when can I say it to which it's easier for them, right? So you're still going to say it. You can just be mindful of when. That's okay, depending, okay? The next one is you address your frustrations to them or with them while willing to compromise. You can mention, I'm really frustrated. We haven't seen each other in a while. I know it's a lot for you. What can we do to meet in the middle? You are communicating and you're compromising, and you're expecting them to compromise as well. Okay, two-way street. The next one is you express how you would want them to compromise. You can mention, we haven't seen each other in a while. I understand that you're comfortable this way, but I want to find a way we can compromise in the middle. I'm okay with seeing you less as long as we can find a way in the middle. Now you're expecting them to compromise, okay? And the last one is you don't let something go completely if it's important to you. You can bring it up later when rapport is built. And so that's really important. So let's summarize. It's going to be hard to summarize this one, but I guess I'll summarize it in a more shorter way. The best way to put it is if you're enabling them, if you're shutting yourself off continuously because you're too afraid to say something to trigger them all the time, likely you are enabling them. And the best way to arrange yourself out of that position is to get them and yourself more comfortable with somehow challenging them every now and again. Give that a shot, and that can really help. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.